Sociology as a discipline, scientific method, methods and tools used in sociology. Introduction. Throughout history, social philosophers have made countless efforts to understand social behavior. These observers resulted in the establishment of social science as academic discipline. Amongst the academic disciplines known as the social sciences, sociology is considered to be new when compared to the older disciplines such as political science, anthropology, economics, history, to name a few. Sociology as a discipline. Among us, the academic disciplines known as the social sciences, sociology is considered to be new when compared to the older disciplines such as political science, anthropology, economics, and psychology and history, to name a few. Most early sociological thinkers approached the study of society in similar manner as the natural sciences. They believed that generalized theories can be formulated based on natural science research methodologies. This approach to sociological research is known as positive science positivism, foundation of the academic discipline. Classical theorists of sociology from the late 19th century 20th century include Lodin, Gombrich, Ferdinand Tönnies, Emil Durkheim, George Simmel, Max Weber, and Karl Marx. Sociologists and regularly contributed to general philosophy, economic psychology, and jurisprudence. Formal academical sociology began within when Durkheim set up the first European department of sociology at the University of Bordeaux in 1895, publishing his rules of the sociological method. In 1896, he did establish the journal Année Sociological, Durkheim's seminal monography. Suicide, 1897, a case study of suicide rates among us Jewish, Catholics, and Protestants populations. Distinguished sociological analysis from psychology or philosophy. A course entitled Sociology, United States was taught in the United States under its own name for the first name in 1875 by William Graham Sumner, drawing upon the thought of Comte and Herbert Spencer rather than the war Durkheim was advancing in Europe. In 1890, the oldest continuing sociology course in the United States began at the University of Kansas, lectured by Frank Blackmore. The first full-fledged independent university department sociology was established in 1892 at the University of Chicago. American sociology arose on a broadly independent trajectory to European sociology. George Herbert Mead and Charles H. Cooley were influential in the development of symbolic interactionism and social psychology at the University of Chicago. While Laster Ward emphasized the central importance of the scientific method with the publication of Dynamics Sociology in summer of 1883. The first sociology department in the United Kingdom was founded at the London School of Economics in 1904. In 1919, a sociology department was established in Germany at the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich by Max Weber, who had established a new anti-positivism sociology. In 1920, a department was set up in Poland. International cooperation in sociology began in 1893 when Rene Worms founded the small institution International De-Socialization disciplined by much larger International Sociological Association from 1949. In 1905, the American Sociological Association, the world's largest association on professional sociologists, was founded, and Lester F. Ward was selected to serve the first president of the new society. Durkheim, Maxwell, and Weber, and typically situated the three principal archetypes of the modern social sciences. Parsons' structure of social action consolidated the American sociological tradition and set the agenda for American sociology at the point of its fastest disciplinary growth. The methodological approach toward sociology by early theorists was to treat the discipline in broadly the same manner in natural science and emphasize an empirism, and the scientific method was sought to provide an incontestable foundation for any sociological claims of finding, and to distinguish sociology from less empirical fields such as philosophy. This perspective called positivism is based on the assumption that the only authentic knowledge is scientific knowledge, and that such knowledge can come only from positive affirmation of theories through strict scientific and quantitative methods. At the time of the 20th century, the first generation of German socialists formally introduced methodological anti-positivism, proposing the research should concentrate the human cultural norms, values, symbols, and social process, viewed from a subjective perspective. Max Weber argued that sociology may be loosely described as a science, as it is able to identify causal relationships, especially among ideas types, or hypothetical simplification of complex social phenomena. In the early 20th century, sociology expanded in the US and Asia, including development of both microsociology concerned with the evolution of societies and microsociology concerned with everyday human social interactions. While the social world has been changing dramatically over the last 2 centuries or to focus on many of its traditional concerns, no social change is as important today as globalization, since it is continuously affecting all aspects of the social world everywhere on the globe. Today, globalization is a central issue in the social world as a whole as well as in sociology. Sociology in India. Indian sociologists and anthropologists have made an attempt to integrate sociology and anthropology in research, teaching, and recruitment. They have made a prominent contribution to the development of indigenous studies of Indian society and have set an example before the Asia and African scholars. Another significant contribution of Indian sociology and social culture anthropology lies in their endeavor to synthesize the text and the context. The synthesis between the text and the context has provided valuable insights into the duality of continuity and change to contemporary Indian society. The contribution made by the Indologists such as Henry Maine offered Lilly etc. helped in the development of sociology in India. They emphasized the need to preserve the indigenous social institutions found in India society rather than destroying them and imposing the alien way of life on the people. They recognized the past glory of Indian culture and literary traditions. There were also British administrators who made extensive study of Indian people, their races and culture. Most of these studies helped generate body of knowledge preserved in the census report, imperial gazettes, district gazettes, etc., as well as in the books and monographs used by the sociologists and social anthropologists extensively. Alongside of sociology, anthropology was also developing in India universities. In the Indian context, it is not possible to distinguish between anthropology and sociology, except in the term of methodology. Sociology has studied urban industrial groups, while anthropology focused on tribes, castes, and communities. In the Indian academic studies, we find that tribes, castes, and regions have been linked with each other in variety of ways. Both sociology and anthropology in India are mainly based on empirical data. They deal with aggregates of people in number of villages, towns, and cities. During British rule, a number of ethnographic works were written by G.H. Fountain, Edward Thorns, Risley, and others. There were also writing of Henry Maine and Baden Powell on the village community in India. In India, religious did not place a bar of free thinking. The stimulates to creative work into the Indian social science come from interaction with the West. The emergence and development of sociology and anthropology was influenced by the growth of the nationalism in India. The nationalism movement was itself a product of the impact of the West, especially colonial rule in India. The repercussions of this impact was felt widely due to several reasons such as improvement in communication, transport facilities, and printing press. It, it is. Modern law and Western education generated a new self awareness to Indian people. The awareness of people along these lines of religion, sects, castes, tribes, like it is, become more hand-handed on the one hand, while a wider level a new sense of unity emerged. All these social changes gave rise to new problems. Besides of the officials, the missionaries too recorded valuable data about the societies of the periods. In 1817, the first all Indian census was undertaken by the British government. The 20th century European civilization represented the highest point of the ladder. This was an ethnocentric belief of European scholars who believed the theory society was the best and most evolved while the rest of the world was in various stages of evolution. Serial rejected this view and wrote and lectured extensively in defense of Indian culture throughout his comprehensive sociology. He was responsible for introducing sociology in Calcutta University and later Mysore University. In Bombay, Patrick Godwin was responsible for the introducing of sociology. He opened the department in 1919. That was a landmark in the development of sociology in India. Lepley, an eminent sociology, influenced Goddess. Goddess was interested in human geography and town planning with specific interest in the problems of urban deterioration. He studied the town planning of such cities as Calcutta, Indore, that are of great value. G.S. Garve, Radhakamal Mukherjee show the influence of Goddess in their sociological writings. The others who firmly established the sociology in India are D.N. Mujumdar and N.K. Bose. D.N. Mujumdar of Lucknow University was trained in anthropology. He worked extensively in both the anthropology fields as well as in social anthropology. He studied the races, tribes, and culture in various regions in India. His specific interest was in the study of problem of culture, changes, and adoption of the tribes and their social problems. N.K. Bose N.K. Bose made a very significant contribution to the development of sociology in India. He was political and social activities who was a director of the Anthropological Survey of India from 1959 to 64. Held the office of the Commissioner for the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes in the Government of India. His contribution was basically in the study of Indian civilization and culture. Airavati Karve extensively used the ideological literature in her sociological writings. She was the student of G.S. Garve and did extensive field work in various regions of India. Her knowledge of Sanskrit helped her in understanding ancient literature like scripts, law books, and epics. She used this data to understand the kinship organization in India. Her book Kinship Organization in India is one of the best analysis of kinship system found in India. She has divided India into four zones and attempted their comparison. The work starts with the generalizes of the characters in Hindu epic Mahabharata and incorporate fields notes from the different parts of India. She combined her interest in the study of classical with field studies. Sociology in the pre-independence period. Sociology had its formal beginning in 1917 at Calcutta University, owing to the active interests and efforts of B. N. Seal. Later on, the subject was handled by Radha Kamal Mukherjee and B. N. Sarkar. However, sociology could not make any headway in its birthplace at Calcutta. On the other hand, anthropology flourished in Calcutta with the establishment of department and later on the Anthropological Survey of India. Thus, sociology drew a blank in the extreme parts of the country. But the story had been different in Bombay. Bombay University started teaching of sociology by grant of Government of India in 1940. In 1914, the Department of Sociology was established in 1919 with Patrick Goddess at the helm of affairs. He was joined by G.S. Garvey and Yannick Tooth. This was indeed a concrete step in the growth of sociology in India. Another center of influence of sociological theory and research was at Lucknow, that is, introduced sociology department of economics and sociology in 1921 with Radhakamal Mukherjee as its head. Later, he was ably assisted by D.P. Mukherjee and D.N. Mujumdar in South India. Sociology made its appearance at Mysore University by the efforts of B.N. Seal and A.F. Wadia in 1928. In the same year, sociology was introduced in Usman University. At the undergraduate level, Jafar Hassan joined the department after the completed his training in Germany, 1928, in Usman University. Another university that started the teaching of sociology and social anthropology before 1947 was Ponna in the late 1930s with Airavati Karve the head. Between 1917 and 46, the development of the discipline was universal, in any case, not every encouraged. During this period, Bombay produced many scholars who richly contributed to the promotion of sociological studies and research in the country. K. N. Kapadia, Airavati Karve, S. V. Karindar, M. N. Srinivas, A. R. Desai, I. P. Desai, M. S. Gore, and Y. B. Dhomel are some of the outstanding scholars who shaped the destiny of the discipline. The products of the university slowly diffused during this period in the hinterland universities and helped in the establishment of departments of sociology. Certain trends of development of sociology may be identified in the pre-independence period. Sociology was taught along with economics both in Bombay and Lucknow. However, in Kolkata it was taught along with anthropology, and in Mysore it was part of the social philosophy. Sociology in the post-independent period. The next phase in the growth of the subject corresponds to the period between attainment of the independence and the acceptance of the religion, language, and the media of the instructions of most states of the country. Towards the end of this period, we also witness the interest on the part of the central government to promote social science research through a formal organization established for the purpose. This phase alone experienced tremendous amount of the interaction within the professions as two parallel organizations started functioning for the promotion of the profession. In Bombay, Indian Sociological Society was established and Sociological Bulletin was issued as the official organ of the society. This helped to the large extent in the creating a form of publication of sociological literature. Teaching of sociology got well established in the 50s. This period reflected three things as marked by Rao. First, sociology achieved greater academic status. Not only many more universities and colleges began to teach the postgraduate and graduate levels, but the discipline itself became more focused on theoretical orientation and highly diversified in the specialization. Secondly, sociology established its identity as discipline by separating itself from psychology, anthropology, social philosophy, and social work. Although in some universities still social pathology and social psychology are taught as a part of sociology, course. In many others, a highly diversified curriculum structured in the proper sociology existed, including such specializations as rural and urban sociology, sociology of kinship, sociology of religion, sociology of stratification, sociology of education, political sociology, medical sociology, social demography, and sociology of economic development. Thirdly, diversification followed the lines of extension of sociological approach to different areas of social life. It was related to the growing needs of the development of in independent India. Colonial legacy became a thing of the past and democratic process were introduced at the levels. Socialists soon become sensitive to problems of development in the context of tribal, rural, and urban situations. Problems of rural development, industrialization, and expansion of education, control of population, new political process and institutions. Social and political movements attracted their areas of social life. Another important change in the teaching of sociology, which came after independence, has become in regard to the external intellectual influences. Before independence, the teaching of sociology and social anthropology was mainly, if not whole, influenced by the then current theoretical governance in the Great Belt. After independence, however, American sociological tradition had a major impact on the technical teaching of sociology in India. This is evident from such as topics of the syllabi as structural functional theory, persons and matter, and research methodology. The impact of globalization of Indian culture, heritage, and general life situation of the people of the country has generated a new areas that deserves the attention of Indian sociologists who do seem to be identified to such relevant areas as civic society, crisis and resilience agents in the process of social change and secularism and national integration, but specific social action of the new economic policy is yet to be analyzed. A few courses have been introduced recently and global themes in some of the universities. They are as follows: ecology and society, issues of human rights, sociology of management, human resource development, media and society, action, sociology. Methods of sociology. The term method means as a part of apart way of doing something. Every science has to use an appropriate way or a suitable method of investigating into the fields of study. Sociology is also a science. It would also, therefore, use certain methods by which sociological facts could be collected, analyzed, and put it into proper form and certain conclusions drawn phenomena and its use of methods employed by other social sciences is quite proper as the social phenomena is very complex and data to be collected are very large. It is difficult to suggest which particular method should be employed by sociology. Sociology, as a social science, has been trying to develop its own method of study. Sociology has to face greater problems in involving a satisfactory method in the companionship with the other social sciences. Man's social life is complex and multifaceted. It is highly challenging task for sociologists to collect, analysis, synthesis, and finally generalize social data, which are too numerous, complex, and elusive. Socialists have Therefore, being employing various methods for investigating social phenomena. The most common methods of sociology, scientific method. The scientific or experimental method consists of observation, recording, classification, hypothesis, verification, and prediction. Observation means looking at things. Experimentation can be defined as investigation in which the institution or the subjects are systematically manipulated by the investigator and controlled. Observation is made so that a definite hypothesis about the relation of variables can be tested. The second stage in the scientific method is recording of all the data obtained in the observation. Recording must be accurate and objective. The third stage in the scientific method is the classification. Once the factors are observed and recorded, we must classify them in certain order. By classification, we arrange our material in such a way that those facts that possess common characteristics are grouped together. Next comes the stage of philosophies, which means giving some pot, sort of possible explanation for the correlation between the facts classified. The correlation found between certain events and the study of their nature and mutual interaction lead us formulate a provisional explanation of the fact, but it is not necessary that our hypothesis should be correct. It has to be tested till its truth is verified. Then comes the last stage, prediction, which means that the generalization established on the basis of the observation of facts will be valid in future also if the conditions specified in our principles will prevail. The most distinctive feature of the scientific method is its ability and capacity to option define general and verifiable knowledge, to discover causal relationships between desires and scattered facts, to predict the future. The science, by hypothesis, confines itself to the study of the defined and limited subject matter, and the study of limited subject matter must naturally be systematic. All constituted elements of scientific methods, namely observation, experimental, classification, explanation, also have exhibit their systemic nature. The scientific method observes, classifies, and interprets data according to the religious test of the variable. The belief in causal relationship existing in natural and social phenomena is the backbone of the scientific method. The primary task of the scientific method is the discovery of causal relations in other deserves facts under its and generalize about this. It is to the credit of the scientific method that it can predict about future. The historical method. The historical method consists of a study of events, processes, and institutions of past civilizations for the purpose of finding the origins or attendants of contemporary social life, and thus of understanding its nature and working. But this method cannot help us in studying all the problems of sociology. The scope of sociology cannot be limited to the study of the facts provided by history. The comparative or anthropological method. The main task of sociology to ascertain relations and interrelations between different aspects of the social life. Sociology cannot make proper use of the experimental method and all its various stages of observation, classification, hypothesis, generalization, etc. With regard to a particular social phenomenon, a laboratory, as the physical sciences can do, the methods of comparing different societies or groups within the same society to show whether and why they are similar and different in certain aspects. The statistical method. The term social statistics or statistical method refers to the method that is used to measure social phenomena mathematically. Professor Gidding was the first great sociologist. Emphasizes the importance of the statistics of social researches. Much the research work in sociology in the century currently being carried on with the help of the data collected through statistics. For example, in studying population, migration, economic conditions, human ecology, etc. But the difficulty in adopting the statistical methods is that mostly the social problems are quantitative or not quantitative. This method can be therefore be used in a limited sphere only. The social survey method. The social survey method consists of the collection of data concerning the living and working conditions of the people in a given area with a view at formulating participating social measures for their betterment and welfare. Bogota defines a social survey as the collection of data concerning the living and working conditions, broadly speaking, of the people in a given community. Social survey is the concern with the collection of the data relating to some problems of social importance with a view of formulating constructive prognosis for their solutions. The case study method. The case study method is employed in studying an individual case or that a group, community, or as institution. The constant the distinguishing that a case of being studied in the representative of many, if not all, similar cases, and hence will make recognition possible. Some of the techniques are used in the methods are related questions, life history, documents of all kinds of having being the such as mineral that sociology have a deep insight into the problem. Functionalism or structural functionalism method, the approach of functionalism is being given great importance in the study of social phenomena by socialists. By this method, we try to interact the part of the society in terms of its functions and not terms of its utility and origin. Functionalism, in the words, refers to the study of social phenomena from the point of view of the function that particular situations such as family. Classes, religion, and political institutions serve in a society. It is a functional analysis of the different parts of society. The functional method assumes that the total social system of the society is made up a parts of which are interrelated and interdependent, each performing a function necessary to the life of the group. Since these parts are interdependent, we can understand them only by investigating the relationship to other parts as well as to the whole social system. The ideal type method. The ideal type method of investigating social phenomena has been expounded by Max Weber, Simmel, and Durkheim. According to this method, an ideal is constructed from the concrete cases and then particular cases is evaluated according to the degrees of its approximation to the ideal. For example, if a sociologist is interested in problem, say a friendship or democracy, he will create an ideal conception of friendship or democracy on the basis of concrete cases and then he will measure the particular case of friendship or the working of democracy in a particular country to the ideal and ascertain its value accordingly. Accordingly to Weber, an ideal type of social behavior involves a description of certain aims and normative controls from which springs a nation of the rational courses of function. The ideal type analysis and scales of personal values have provided very valuable for descriptive analytical studies. This method has further been employed for profit in maximum interruption whether the idea types are classes having confronting objects. These methods can be used